What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Mike. So, another good day, work, looked at a little bit of stuff for school, nothing too crazy. Went to the gym, and when I was coming from the gym, I was like, what should I record today? What should I chat with you guys about? And today was back day, so I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead and talk to you guys about back day. Um, Again, nothing too crazy, but I'll give you some very basic tips and tricks, things to pay attention to with your back day. Now, some people will kind of divide their back days up into like different weeks, if you will. So one week they'll focus on like horizontal motions, another week they'll focus on vertical motions. Some are you're rolling, from front to back. Some are more like you're pulling up ahead. So think of rows versus lat pull downs. Do you need to do one versus the other? Do both. Both of them are great. One helps with the overall V taper, that curve that people are looking for. A lot of guys they'll think about as a V taper or the X frame, depending on how big your legs are. A lot of our ladies think about like more like the hourglass shape, things like that, just to kind of like put things into perspective. With when you're doing your lat pull downs, your pull ups, things like that. In regards to like your horizontal rows and things like, whenever you come into your horizontal rows, that gives you a little bit more definition in your back. It gives you like the muscle that you're looking for, that real big deep definition that you're looking for. With guys, is like all the big craters and things like that. With the ladies, it kind of helps with the overall appeal whenever someone's looking from the back and like see your back, like, oh, okay. So it kind of helps with that. Again, there's no such thing as a guy muscle group. There's no such thing as a lady muscle group. Everyone has the same muscles, generally speaking. There are some slight caveats to that, with birth defects, things of that nature. But again, that's a little bit beyond our channel, particularly beyond the scope of the videos that I'm talking about right now. But generally speaking, everyone has the same muscles. There's no guy muscles, there's no lady muscles. The way you can divide it up into a couple of different things. You can divide it up into like your horizontal row, like your horizontal motions, your vertical motions. I'll also say to focus on your low back stability and strength, because our low backs are things that we don't give enough credit to, things that we don't pay attention to enough. But our low backs are also some things that give out on us the most. So you have to pay attention to your overall low back health. You can also work on your stability, like your core stability, like I was talking about in another video. You can work on your core stability, which will help out with all of your exercises, all of your day-to-day activities. Again, that nice strong core just makes everything a little bit better. You don't have to be too fancy. You don't have to do 1,000,005 exercises. I personally do, because again, the gym is like a playground to me. But let's say if you're like, okay, I don't have a whole lot of time. I want to do, I just want to get in a good pump workout. Think of like 3, 4, maybe 5 exercises. You typically don't need more than that. Particularly as a new person, you don't need to do a crazy ton of volume. You just need to get in there and get used to the motions, get used to what you're doing. If you want to add a lot of volume, pay it very close attention to your overall fatigue levels, how you're fueling your workouts before, during, and after, because you can seriously burn out if you're doing way too much, way too soon. So I'll definitely say, pay attention to your overall fatigue levels while you are working out. If you are doing like something that's a little bit more cardio, cardio wise, I definitely say add some extra carbs. Depending on how carb depleted you are. Again, video for another day. We can talk about that. But I'll definitely say keep paying attention to your overall hydration status, your nutrition. Again, you typically don't need to do more than 3 to 4 exercises. Like 3, 4, I'll say maybe 5, depending on how you're breaking things up. If you're doing all horizontal motions, 5 may be a little bit overkill, particularly for a newer person. If you're doing all vertical motions, 5 may be overkill. If you're doing a combination, 4 to 5, that's a good amount. Also depends on the intensity that you're doing, because whenever you're working out, this goes for any muscle group, you want it to feel like, let's say if your goal is 3 sets of 8, whenever you get to that 6th rep, Are you just breezing through? Like, okay, 6, this is easy. 7, sure, easy. 8, okay, I'm good. I feel like I did nothing. And you're going on, or do you feel like now at 6 rep you're like, oh, I'm feeling this a little bit. 7 is like, oh, this is kind of tough. 8 is like, okay, this is tough. You want to be closer to that range compared to the first range, because if you're just kind of like going through the motions, you're almost wasting your time. It's like, why be there? We're just wasting your time. It's like, there are other things you can do because people are busy. I'm a busy person. I know y'all are busy people. Why waste your time in the gym? You know, you want if you're there, you want to get results for the work that you put in, right? If you're going to work, you want results for the work that you're putting in. You want to get a paycheck or whatever it is. So, whenever you're working out, you want to feel like you're like, okay, I'm pushing a little bit, and if you're able to get to that route again, you want to stick with the 3 sets of 8. That's perfectly fine. Aiming for like those 4 to 5 exercises, that's probably perfectly fine. Another thing I would say is, I say this with pretty much every exercise, is chart what you're doing. Write down what you're doing, because that way you can actually progress properly. Because sometimes your mind will play tricks on you, sometimes weights will play tricks on you, and sometimes you're like, oh, this weight looks super, super heavy. But then you look back at your notes, you're like, oh, I actually did more than that last time. And I actually wrote down this note that it was heavy, but not as heavy as I thought it was. Oh, so maybe I should try this weight again. Or let's say if you're like, hey, I'm feeling really good. Look at your notes and it's like, okay, I tried this weight last time, which was under that, and I said it was way, way too heavy. So you can kind of like judge like how to progress based off of the notes that you're writing. You know what I mean? So again, if you're a little short on time, it's like, okay, what can I do? I'll do a vertical motion. I'll do a horizontal motion. If you want to do a stability exercise or a low back exercise, there's like they usually have the glute ham machine, or sometimes it looks like almost a little triangle, pretty much. It has pads that you put your thighs on. That's a good exercise. You also hear the exercise called a back hyperextension. If it's on, you hear whether you're laying down or if you're on that bench, you hear back hyperextension. I don't want you guys to hyperextend, because hyperextension can be bad, particularly if you have certain types of stenosis and things like that, some like certain types of narrowing of the spine. Hyperextension could be bad. So don't think of it as a hyperextension. Think about you just going into a neutral position. So you're going from a bent position to a neutral position. So if this is the bar, if this is the bench, again, my knuckles are your hips. My hands are your thighs, and this is your back. You want to go here. You want to go to neutral. You don't want to hyperextend, because that can be bad. So you want to go from bent to neutral, compared to hyperextension, because that can be a little bit bad. And also something that would be a very big benefit is if when you're going to that neutral position, hold it for 2 to 3 seconds and bring it down slow. Come up, hold it for 2 or 3 seconds, go down. You will feel it, and you actually want to feel like you want to stand up a little bit tighter, just because of how those muscles are working. And we often don't work those muscles the way we need to, so they are often, my bad, my phone acting up. Those muscles are often a little bit weaker than they should be. So working that is a great exercise. It's a great addition to your exercise, because we're all about moving as long as we want to for as long as we can. That's what we're about. In regards to physical therapy, that's what we're about. In regards to being in the gym, that's what we're about. We're about maintaining livelihood and activity as long as you want to, the way that you want to. Because again, just because you retire or hit a certain age doesn't mean that you can't move. Doesn't mean you have to, stay sedentary. Doesn't mean that you have to deteriorate. Because there are plenty of people that are 60, 70, 80 that are still rocking it. There are people that are 50 that act like they're crippled. Now, granted, there are some issues with certain people. There are certain things that do reduce mobility. I acknowledge that. However, if you have the ability to move, your body will thank you. You'll be able to move longer the sooner that you start moving. The more that you do now, the more you'll be able to do later. The less you do now, the less you'll be able to do at a later time. And I don't know about y'all, but if I don't have to have someone just waiting, if I don't want someone to wait on me when I'm getting older. I want to be able to have all my faculties available. I want to be able to stand up by myself. I want to be able to move around by myself. I want to be able to, TMI, but I need to go to the bathroom. I want to be able to go to the bathroom. I want to be able to drive to the grocery store as much as I want to. I want to be able to walk around the park. I want to be able to lift things up. I want to be able to, put things in my cabinet. I want to be able to drive, when I'm 70, 80 plus. If I live to see that long. No, hopefully I do, because you never know what's going to happen in the future. But as long as I'm living, I want to be able to do the things that I want to do with as little physical restrictions as I can possibly help. So that's why I feel like it's so important to work your mobility, work your stability, work your strength, work your cardio, because doing those things can help you prevent those injuries that reduce mobility for the older population, whether it's a broken joint, whether it's heart disease or heart attack or surgeries or whatever those things are. I want to be able to mitigate those risks as much as I possibly can. Again, another thing that you see is, with our older population, oh, my back's hurting, my hips are hurting. And you also always see that curved spine, that curved posture. So there's an exercise called a face pull, which a lot of people say is very great to help reduce that curved posture, because we're always hunched in and curved in. So you're able to get your shoulders back, your chest out, which is one of the things the face pull actually helps do, because it stretches everything out up top and also strengthens your back muscles. So again, the stronger your back muscles are, the more you're kind of popped up like that, which kind of helps reduce that old people hump that you typically see. And unfortunately, we are seeing that in younger populations, because we're so technologically focused. Where everything is, we're closing, whenever we're texting, whenever we're on our laptops. Oftentimes you'll see people, hunched over. For my gamers, you see people, hunched over in their gaming chair. Unfortunately, for people who work remotely, we're hunched over our computers. And I'll admit it too. There are times I forget my posture. I'm not perfect. I'm just a dude. There are times I forget my posture and I kind of like hunched over. I'm like, hey, tighten up. Posture up, like chest up, head up type thing. So I gotta remind myself of that too. So again, when it comes to your back exercises, you don't need to do anything super crazy. I'm not saying you need to clean and jerk and deadlift. Granted, I enjoy deadlifting. To me, deadlifting is fun. It is a great exercise. However, if you're trying to 1 rep max and 3 rep max and things like that, those higher weights with the lower reps, the risk is not worth the reward most of the time. There's some people that are like, oh, I don't feel anything. It's like, again, if you want to deadlift. Again, there was a long time I was trying to max out my deadlift. I actually increased my deadlift almost 100 pounds in less than a year. I was on a really crazy program. My deadlift shot up. I was getting leaner. I was getting more muscular. I was like, this is insane. My deadlift shot up, and I had fun. I was so close to joining the 500-pound club. I was like, this is insane. It's like at that time I was between 178 and 182, and I topped out my deadlift at 463, at like 179. Now I know there are a lot of people that are way stronger than me, so I give them credit. So for me, I was like, that's really good. So deadlift to me are fun, but sometimes the risk is not worth the reward. There's a lot of risk involved. Deadlift is a pretty advanced exercise, and you really have to work your posture, your positioning, your low back strength to make sure that you're being as safe as you possibly can with this exercise. Again, it's fun, but ego can get involved a little bit. So sometimes deadlifting, the risk is not worth the reward. Basic exercises you want to do. If you want to do a lat pull down, lat pull downs. If you want to do some kind of rows, do some rows. You want to do some face pulls, do some face pulls. Back hyper or back extensions, great exercise. If you're just doing some kind of combination like that, then that will actually set you up for a lot. You can kind of base your routine, off of that. So let's say if you usually do a regular lat pull down with a lat bar, but all the long bars are taken. It's like, okay, the long bars are taken, but I can do a V grip. So use a V grip and row, and pull. Granted, you won't, you're not going to work your lats as much. You are still going to work your lats, but you won't work your lats like you think that you would. You work like more like your rhomboids, your mid trap. So like no, those closer inside muscles, but you're still working your back. If you want to do some kind of rowing variation, whether it's a seated cable row, whether it's a dumbbell row, whether it's a T-bar row, whatever you have available, use it. If it's just bands, if it's a like a gorilla row, there's so many different rowing variations that you can try that are all great. Sometimes, if you don't have like a chest supported something, or if it's like, hey, I'm kind of like free in the air, then pay attention to your low back. Pay attention to your posture, because you don't want to sacrifice your posture for weight. So keep your posture straight. Keep your low back healthy while you're doing your exercises. Again, lat pull downs. Whatever you want. If you want to do a single grip, you want to do a V-bar grip. If you want to do a long bar, you want to mix them up. Mix them up. There's times I would do all three. It depends on what I got time for. For my rows, whether it's like a pin loaded row, a plate loaded row, if it's a dumbbell row, if it's a T-bar row, play around with all of them, see which ones you like, and even see which ones you like at different gyms. If you go to different gyms, see which ones you like at different gyms, because you may like a plate load at one gym, but you may not like the pin loaded because it gets a little stuck or anything that is a little old. But at this other gym, you really like the pin loaded, and they also don't have plate loaded. So play around, see what you like at different gyms. For your low back extensions are a great exercise. Again, go from that flex position, and extend to neutral. You don't need to extend past neutral. There's no need. And depending on what you're doing, depending on your health conditions, your health history, you can cause more harm than good. So just go to neutral, hold it for a couple of seconds, go back down. Come up, hold it for a couple of seconds, go back down. That's the key to your back extensions. Great exercise. Keep the lower back healthy. If you want to do your back extensions while you're doing your core exercises, because again, everything is connected. Again, your middle is your core. If you want to do your back extensions while you're doing your core, do your back extensions while you're doing your core. It's a perfect place to put them in. Those are some of the big ones that I would say. So when it comes to just trying to figure out what you can do for your back days, some basic things. You want to do a vertical motion, a horizontal motion, and you want to make sure you work your lower back. Again, if you want to work your lower back on your back day, you can work on your back day. If you want to do it on your while you're doing your core, do it while you're doing your core. Another great exercise I would say is your face pulls to work your overall posture, like your mid upper traps, your rear delts, and just get you in a better position and kind of keeps your chest up, your head up, things of that nature. So it's just a great exercise for posture correction and posture awareness. Okay. So those would be the 4 exercises I was saying. So again, just to reiterate, for back day, you just want four types of exercises, 4 generalizations for exercises: a face pull, a rowing variation, a vertical pulling variation, and a back extension. And again, back extension you can do on your while you're doing your core. Face pulls, if you want to do those while you're doing your shoulders, they fit in either or, on your shoulder day or your back day. So again, just want to chop it up with you guys. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, drop them in the chat. I'd love to chat with you guys. And I'm actually going to do an about me video, probably a 3-part series, just so you guys can understand, just get vibe out with your boy, and so you know who I am. Because who's this guy? What kind of qualifications does he have to be talking about this? I got a little knowledge, so I'll go ahead and probably start doing a 3-part video, maybe come out this weekend. Got a holiday coming up, so I'll have a little bit more time. I'm not working at a hospital this weekend, so again, I have a little bit more time. But yeah, so I'll probably do it this weekend. Stay tuned for that. Again, if there's any questions, comments, concerns you guys have, I'd love to chat with you guys. Drop all the stuff that you got in the chat. And yeah, we'll connect later. All right.